Welcome to Versus, a show where two coaches battle it out head-to-head to decide who has the best training program for a real athlete. Each coach has limited time to present and justify their design, and then that person's actual coach will judge each program. I will start things off because this is my athlete. We are going to be calling him today Josh. That's obviously not his real name. His age is 48 years old. He's 5'11", just under 200 pounds. Been doing CrossFit for over a decade. He has a very flexible schedule and often will train double days when it's relevant in his season. And currently he is prepping for the Legends Championship. And I had you guys write a front half of a week for what ended up being like essentially 3 weeks out from that competition. And I gave you guys a little bit of resources for the actual workouts that have been shown up in the past for those guys and what, it's basically been something that they, their programming biases, and also like, I'll have to edit that. Also Josh's, strength and weakness profile. I would say his strengths, definitely barbell cycling, hinging battery, machine work, overall just like pretty good power output. And then weaknesses, handstand push-ups, snatch positions are going to be something that we continue to refine, squatting strength, and those like lower skill, high turnover type workouts that you often see in like the low barrier to entry open style workout is something that, some of the guys who don't have the other skills or strength that he does will kind of catch on some of those type of workouts. So a little background on him. We're going to let Day go first. Go ahead, take over, jump right into it.
With Josh here, obviously, I think one of the first things I would question before like writing any program is like the limitations, knowing that like masters athletes, whether they were former, collegiate athletes or professional athletes, whatever, most of the time there's going to be some limitations in movements. So knowing that usually helps out. But based on what Ben was telling us about Josh, it seems like there's not much limitations there. He's been doing CrossFit for a while, so he can handle quite a bit of work. So that's good to know. So
he's been with CrossFit longer than I knew it was even existed.
Holy cow.
Love it. So he's gung-ho about it. I love it. So I got just a template here from Monday through Sunday, looking at how
Don't forget, you got 10 minutes today. That we didn't say that.
10 minutes?
You got 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Oh, crap. Okay. So you'll see first 3 days. I'm freaking out. First 3 days are double days with moderate, high, moderate. And then Thursday will be like a low to moderate day for the swim. That I know Ben usually programs for him, going into another moderate, high, low, whatever. All right, sweet. So knowing that Josh has a weakness in squat strength and some skills like handstand push-ups, that I'm gonna put in the front of the week, hopefully after his rest day, which is Sunday. So he'll start off the week with some squat strength and tackling his weakness in a density style workout. So for the squat strength, because we are 3 weeks out, it's like, okay, I'm going to assume that previously I've worked with him in building like just squat volume, just the whole like different phases of it, getting a lot of volume and getting touches with strength and all that. And now we're in the part of training where it's like, okay, we're going to go heavy for 3 to 5 reps and get a touch closer to that 85+% of that 1 rep max, closer to like the 90s. Okay. So we're doing that there. With prescribed rest, focuses quality and loaded movement. And then on top of that, heavy squat day, we're going to do some accessory work like knee flexion, hamstring work. So something like Nordic curl, GHD Nordic curls, hamstring curls, anything like that. Some just to kind of keep the lower body joints happy, and some single leg isos. So like I like these long, wide lunge isos. So I'd probably have them do something like that. So just getting into a really, really long, wide stance of a lunge, wider than what you would normally do, and holding that there, loaded, holding kettlebells by your side or something like that for 30 to 60 seconds and just doing that.
We won't count this against your time, but why long, an exaggerated length?
It's kind of like a loaded mobility. So it kind of tackles both the isometric benefits of joint health, but also just like a loaded mobility and getting into those positions. So I like to do it in season for that reason, where it's like, okay, we're limited. Let's say we're limited on time. There's a lot of things I want to tackle. One being like mobility. One is keeping joints healthy because he is doing a lot of work and having a lot of double days. And so I feel like that workout really helps with that. And another thing too, it's I've seen with a lot of people who do it, you get a lot of like neuromuscular benefits just because you get the muscles firing at these really deep positions that a lot of times you're not used to. So I like to keep those in there for that reason. So adding that in kind of like an accessory at the end.
You're using more of like an end range isometric versus just like an overcoming isometric that's like meant to be like really high effort.
Right, exactly. So this you hold for an extended period of time, exactly, holding like weight by your sides.
An extended period of time.
Well, like 30 to 60 seconds, because I know like overcoming ISOs usually go like 5 to 10 seconds, and that's like a max effort push.
This
so
is like a longer duration, deeper end range type isometric.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a name for that. Someone probably has one.
Yeah, there's I've heard them called like extreme lunge ISOs. That's what I've heard them called. So if you look at Coach RX, you'll see it in that, because that's how I just copied that name.
Ludicrous ISO.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. You got 6 more minutes.
All right. Oh, dang, already? I'm only on Monday. Okay. So then also on Monday, we'll tackle some weaknesses, and that's going to be the handstand push-ups and doing more like a density style work. So density style intervals with handstand push-ups and having like rest in between, but have it be like aerobic work. So like, hey, you're going to rest, let's say 90 seconds between, but you're rowing or biking in between. And it should be easy efforts, but just kind of keep it moving. And then that evening, doing like monostructural threshold work, and or including barbell cycling. That was something I was toying with because he is good at barbell cycling. So it's like, okay, we can do some threshold work, keeping it at RPE 7 to 8, add some. Originally, I was thinking monostructural, but I was like, yeah, we could probably add in some barbell cycling too and get touches on that, since that is something he's good at. So he could probably hold a threshold pace and not like overshoot. So that's day 1. All right, day 2. That's going to be the higher intensity days. So there's 2 high intensity days. Tuesday, I want it to be on Tuesday and Saturday. So Tuesday, the first session is going to be snatch skill work and strength, as well as some accessory work. So I'm using the skill work to be like primers for the strength. So let's say he's doing clean pulls, clean pulls, snatch pulls, snatches at different positions. I mean, that should prep him for his heavier snatch sets that he'll have later in that session, which would be about 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps. And the goal is quality and load focus. So making sure he's hitting all the positions correctly, speed's looking good. It's not looking like, he's pressing at the top where we don't want him to be. So that'll be that session. And then the second session is going to be a Legends competition style workout. So that one's going to be, hey, like this is going to be based off of the previous Legends competition, whether it's the same type of workout that they have or some type of variation, so we can get some practice and competition strategy as well. So, and that one, I put it in the high intensity day because I want that one to be like, hey, you're going to go as if you were in competition. Let's test this out. And then Wednesday, we're going to go and now do some upper body strength and accessories. So because one of his weaknesses is handstand push-ups, I do have that twice per week. So he is getting a lot of pressing movements. So as a vertical press, I want to make sure that I also get a lot of pulling in there to complement that. And on the upper strength day, that's where I have more pulling. And I also have a bench variation, but the bench is not going to be like a high volume. It'll be low volume, high intensity, high load. And I'll base that off percentages. And so he gets some horizontal pressing there. So he'll get some horizontal pressing through the bench, nothing crazy. And I'll probably have it be like dumbbell bench so that he can change he's not using like a fixed position just in case there is some cranky shoulders or anything. And then the pulling, have some strict pull-ups and bent over rows. So he has a vertical and horizontal pulling there, complementing all the pushing that he's doing. And then doing some rotator cuff, shoulder strengthening, maybe some elbow strengthening and all that stuff, keeping joints healthy. So that'll be upper body. Second session on that day will be the high turnover Metcons, which is one of his weaknesses as well. So with that, I'll probably have a Metcon with various movements that are, like you said, low skill, but open style, low skill, but you're trying to move as fast as you can. So there's really no barrier of entry here. So I'm thinking of things like thrusters, burpees, adding in rowing. I put barbell cycling in there, and if we want to do more barbell cycling, but I probably wouldn't, just to keep it very low skill and just focus on output. And it does fall on a moderate day, so this could easily turn into high intensity if he overshoots it. So the goal is like, hey, you're the dictator of how hard this is. Keep it at a certain, intensity, like RPE 8, 7-ish, 7 to 8 max, where you're not redlining, so that you can keep this in a moderate day, because I don't want you to overshoot. Let's say in the case that he does overshoot, that Thursday swim is going to be a very easy recovery swim. So we'll have to do that.
It's obvious you haven't talked to Josh all that much, but that's part of the deal with this. That's why they're fun. But like, it's so funny, like how, like, I just obviously have like all the details about the person where you guys just don't, because you don't have all their background and stuff. And this is one of those where, like, you were talking about what do we call her, Sally, the other week, and it was like, well, if you give her too much, she's gonna like shut down on you. And it's like, in this case, it was like, you're going to have a mutiny on your hands if you don't let them breathe heavy a little bit more often, that sort of thing, where it's just going to like turn into like a higher thing. Keep going.
Yeah,
you're doing great.
I think that's the thing where it's like, some people are really good at programming, but if like you never have people experience and actual coaching experience, you're in for a treat. All right, sweet. So we finished with Wednesday. Thursday, it'll be a low to moderate swim. I've also included some body weight and banded accessory stuff. Just, again, we can crank some easy work in there, maybe before or after the swim. So, and when I'm thinking of accessory work as like joint health stuff. So things that we may not have time for in other days, but they're going to be, especially during this time where he's doing a lot of work and working at a high intensity, and there may be higher stress levels overall, just like, preparing for competition, normal things. You just want to take care of those. So it could be things like, Spanish squat holds, wall sits, some upper body accessory stuff, a lot of holds, isometrics, all that stuff. Okay. All right. Then we're going to Friday. Friday is going to be another moderate day, because on Saturday we have the high intensity name game workout. So on Friday, some more squat strength, but that strength is going to be more of a dynamic effort. So West Side barbell style stuff. So thinking about 3 to 5 reps, but the focus should be more like speed and moving through pretty quickly. So it shouldn't be super high load grindy reps, since we get that on the Monday. So complementing the different strength right there. In that too, having some complementary work of RDLs or some type of posterior chain lower body exercise to work with that. And then having some more skill work with the weaknesses, handstand push-ups, and strength gymnastic style Metcon. So something there. So on Monday, we did the handstand push-ups, interval style, density focus. This is going to be more like mixing it up, but maybe with like prescribed rest or something like that, just to get more touches on it. And then some monostructural threshold work in the evening. Again, keeping it RPE 7 to 8. So it's like a hard effort, but doable and repeatable. So he's close to his lactate threshold, but not passing it. So he's living right there. So doing that. And then Saturday's name game, and then Sunday rest. How much time do I have?
Minus 1 or 2 minutes, but you're good.
Oh, damn it. I really thought I had like at least 30 seconds. But yeah, that's the layout.
Cool. You got to run, so we're going to let you go. We'll let Dub take over. And you'll just have to wait until this airs to hear how we judge.
The verdict. Yeah. All right, sweet guys. Cool. See ya.
Later.
All right. First of all, Annie, you're missing a lot of sessions. You need to pick it up a little bit. No, I wrote this a while ago, so reminded myself of what I did here. Okay, so Monday I started with a high power / squat day, like a heavier squat day. So I also did a little bit of snatching here, as you'll see. Warm up was just a basic snatch warm up, getting yourself ready to do snatching, because this is I don't know if this is one of his weaknesses or not, but like watching Josh snatch in person, that this could be something that like could be worked on a little bit. So I did snatch positioning work, 1 snatch plus 2 hang snatch every 90 seconds for 8 sets, focusing on holding the position and catching in a strong overhead support, just building to a heavy. I like Dave was saying, 3 weeks out, this would be your, I don't know what that was, building to a heavy, because you're like 3 weeks out, your percentages are going to start to get heavy. So that's what I did there. Then we moved into a front squat. I did 4x3 at a 72 to 77%, kind of focusing on tension and slower descent, 3-second descent. That's, for me, that's a slower descent. Rest is needed between the sets, just focusing on that there. And then I did a superset. Why did I forget that word? We did ATG split squats. I like these a lot for single leg strength. We did 3 sets of 5 reps on each leg. You just hold 2 kettlebells at your side, 2 kettlebells at your side at RP 8.5. Then you go immediately into a dumbbell jump, holding the dumbbells, jumping as high as you can with those dumbbells. 3 sets of 8 reps at a light dumbbell. Think about exploding through the ground and rebounding from there. Rest 60 to 90 seconds between the supersets. So a lot of stuff right there, but should make sense. And then we have a lower skill EMOM here, every minute on the minute for 8 sets. The odd minutes are going to be 12 calories on the Echo Bike. Even minutes are 12 burpees over a line. As I put their balls to the wall, so super hard there.
What does that mean? Like, you want them going as fast as possible each minute?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Basically, go as fast as possible. Give yourself as much time to rest in between the movements. Yeah, I was looking at this one. And I was like, man, this is a tough one. Even just 8 minutes, that's still really tough. But yeah, that's the first session of that day. Of Monday. The PM is a barbell cycling press plus pressing endurance. I did a nice little warm up, get yourself ready for some barbell cycling here. The first part is push press, 5 sets of 8 to 10 reps at 135 to 155, touch and going all reps, focusing on barbell cycling. It's a strength of his, so I was thinking touch up on your strengths every now and then. This would be something that it could be a push press one week, it could be clean another week, just something that focuses on like barbell cycling there, keeping that nice and fresh. Touch and go all reps. Think about breathing out at the top, keeping the heart rate down as you're doing your barbell cycling. Rest is needed between the sets there. And then we had a nice little primer for the Metcon that I have coming up. Then the Metcon 21, 18, 15, 12, 9 of push press at the part A weight. So whatever he did for that barbell cycling up here, he would do that weight right here. And then box jump overs at a 30-inch box, so a higher box than normal. 21, 18, 15, 12, 9. So this would be like a 12-minute-ish workout. 12 to 15. 12. That would be 12 minutes. I forget. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking here, but I was thinking off the top of my head just right away, maybe 12 minutes. And then finish it off kind of like what Dave was saying. This would be, we had very similar here. If I was programming later in the week, that this would be just like a handstand push-up, focusing on like the technique and the volume, like lower volume and technique and endurance here. And then the later in the week would be like a Metcon with the handstand push-up here. So I put 10 minutes to accumulate 50 handstand push-ups, easy sets, nothing super tough. So it could literally just be a set of 10 every 2 minutes for 5 sets. And then I would have him film a set. I've never seen him do a handstand push-up, so it'd be something that I would obviously want to see what is, if it's something like he's holding the support on the way down instead of like kind of just letting himself come down a little bit, fixing that issue there. But yeah, that's day 1. What time are we at?
You're halfway.
Oh, okay. Well, better speed this up a little bit. Second day would be a morning monostructural plus posterior chain accessory. Warm up, kind of similar to like a Miko's triangle warm up, warming that stuff up. And then we have 2 rounds, 5-minute bike, 5-minute row, 5-minute ski at RP 8, kind of just something, keep the intensity at like moderate, nothing like where you're going to be dying, nothing where you're going to be super drained after.
RPE 8 is working.
Well, for me, I think a 10 is like working. So maybe like
I need a week to recover afterwards.
Well, I'm a wuss when it comes to the machine, so maybe that's why it's like that for me. And then we have some posterior chain accessory. So we have single leg. I don't know why that doesn't say single leg, but I wanted this to be single leg. 3x15 single leg dumbbell RDL at a light to moderate weight. Rest 60 seconds between sets, and then you go into the second part here, 3x15 GHD hip extensions. But nothing loaded, just something body weight, focus on control and tension throughout the entire movement, so not flying through it, taking your time, going down, coming back up. Rest 60 seconds between those, and then 3x30-foot dumbbell walking lunge. This would be something decently heavy. So well, I don't know what heavy is for Josh, but something decently heavy there. And then rest is needed between those sets. These ones, that kept the breaks a little bit shorter. This one I figured let the break time add up a little bit there. And then the second session of this day is the gymnastics capacity plus mixed modal Metcon. So this I just put a Metcon at the start of the session. I don't know how often you do that with Josh, but I did that here. Like a prep, getting yourself warmed up with this warm up and prep here for this Metcon. Another Metcon that I think looks really spicy just looking at it. AMRAP for 12 minutes, as many rounds as possible for 12 minutes. Low skill kind of Metcon here. 36 calories on the ski, 24 on the toes to bar, 12 power snatches at 95. So another barbell cycling here. If I had to do this again, I probably would switch to this and what I would have next on the next day there. But if just looking at it right now, I think that's fine for me. And then the accessory, I have 3 supersets, resting 90 seconds between each set. So you go through all 3 movements and then rest 90 seconds. 10 to 12 dumbbell prone rows, 2 to 3 seconds controlled eccentric, 12 banded face pulls. So you have the band of the rig pulling the band to your face, and then 8 to 12 dumbbell hammer curls. The hammer curls light, like a light pump, nothing to failure there. So more accessory work there. And then the cool down, I actually have some shoulder health stuff, keeping those shoulders nice and healthy.
You got 1 minute.
Well, I'm going to be like Dave. We're going to be running over. And Wednesday in the AM, we have hammy strength plus running intervals. I don't know how much he runs and how good he is at running, but I figured running is something that I like. Looking at most people, I'd like to touch at least once a week. So we have warming up that run and the plyometrics that are coming up, warming those muscles up. And then we're going into some plyometrics, some band resisted vertical jumps, 3x8 there at max effort. So everything you have on each jump. And then more plyometrics. I stole these off of you last time we did this. The plyo jump broad / vertical hybrid. After I watched that video, I really like these. So 3 sets of 3 reps at max effort there. Rest is needed between those. And then we have some deadlift, glute ham raise accessory supersets here. 5x5 there at RPE 9, 2-second descent after each rep. By RPE 9, I mean like the descent should be an RPE 9. It shouldn't be like, it should be heavy, but it shouldn't be like a RPE 9 deadlift, if that makes sense. And then we're going into those glute ham raises, 5x5 there, and then rest 90 seconds between each superset. Do that 5 times. And then we have running intervals, 10 sets of a 250-meter run, not a normal run most people test. So I figured that kind of throw him off. I don't know if I'd throw him off, probably not throw him off, but prepare for the unknown and unknowable, I guess. Rest 1-to-1 between sets, and then focusing on trying to get those negative splits, cool down there, and then I'll try to hurry this up. The PM would be a Legends prep, getting yourself ready for Legends. It's just a Metcon, and I picked my favorite CrossFit workout of all time, programmed by JR, the Bag 9, what they did at Syndicate Crown this year. 9 sandbag cleans. I did 150 for him. 15 ring muscle ups, 21 cal row, 15 bar muscle ups, 9 sandbag cleans, and then a cool down after that Metcon. Bam! Time.
Just a little over, but you're good. All right. Cool. Now I gotta judge you guys. So let's see here. I gotta pull up my categories. First one is flow. So I think having you and Day on is a good contrast because you two are very different in the way, like your background of programming and the way that you coach and write designs is just completely different. Like Day is much more conservative. She is very much like she's somebody who, like, for example, like you see like in her program, she undulates everything. It's like there was, I think, 2 high days in the week and the rest were either moderate or low. So I think for her, it tends to be a little bit more, the intensity just tends to be, dosed very sparse. Whereas for you, it's like the opposite, right? You're younger, you personally can handle a lot. You have pretty aggressive training. So I think you tend to write that for people. So I think for you almost tend to err on the other side of it, where there's not much undulation, but the good news is that you get the intensity that you need to drive adaptation. So for somebody like a master's athlete, it's just balancing those two things. And I think in between you two guys, or in my opinion, is like a good spot. So flow, let's see, quality of the skeleton, template to maximize quality work. I'm going to give Day a 3. I'm going to try not to give a lot of 3s though, because I think for her, what I would like to see more of is just a few more opportunities for intensity throughout the week, even if it is kind of pushing up past RPE 8 for CrossFit. I think is fine. But what I liked about hers a lot is like the variance in patterns. So for you, I'm gonna give you a 2 on flow, just being really harsh, because I think what could really be benefited of is just a little more undulation in terms of, like, if you just go hard in every session, you're just going to be beat up by the end of the week, right? By the time you get to like a Thursday, like rest day, you're just going to be like cooked.
Yeah, you're going to be like, I want this rest day.
Yeah, for sure. But maybe like, and if you do that over a couple of weeks, it's not going to be a productive thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like you might be able to get away with that for like a week or 2, but then you're going to start, having issues. Effectiveness follows good principles, meets athlete needs. I'm going to give Day a 4 on this one. She's very much like a principles centric coach. Like that's like, I think what she thinks about first when writing for people. I think, again, for her, what she probably tends to do quite a bit of is just like, it's maybe a little bit less sport specific, but that tends to lend itself to people staying really healthy. And I think for somebody like Josh with a high training age, that can work pretty well. I would just maybe be a little bit more apprehensive about that going into something like competition prep. Whereas like an off-season format, I think Days is kind of spot on in some aspects. Effectiveness, I'll give yours a 4 as well for different reasons. I think, again, what I really like is that you're touching on, again, like the needs of a CrossFit athlete, like frequently, like every single session, you're doing things that are like a CrossFit athlete needs, which is super important. I think, again, where effectiveness is gonna suffer is when things is mainly due to like the fact that like he's probably not gonna be able to handle the volume of certain patterns in back-to-back days. For example, you'd like hinging on back-to-back days. Not that somebody like him couldn't handle that, but I think when that's already a strength, it could be, you could just allocate those resources elsewhere, and that's probably going to be more effective for him. Practicality, ease of implementation. Dang, I feel like you guys both get a 5 on this. I mean, it's like neither of you use like fancy protocols. Neither of you like, you know, like even like an isometric, like it's very low barrier to entry in terms of like learning how to do it and applying it. So like, I feel like nothing was too fancy. Nothing was over the top in that way. I think you guys just kind of like bowled it right down the middle, which is, I think, good in terms of practicality. Artistry. Ooh, this one's tough. I'm going to dock Day on this one a bit for artistry. I'm going to give her a 2. I think for artistry, to me, like it's a little bit of like writing good workouts, but it's also just like it's like just having like a certain, like your thumb on like the pulse of the week and like knowing what the athlete needs. And a part of that is just like, if you haven't coached the person before, you're not going to be able to do it, which is tough. But yeah, honestly, it's just like for her, I think having a little bit more of that CrossFit chaos is just going to be super beneficial for somebody like Josh, especially being so close to a competition. And I know you could probably argue that like when you're that close and you have that much experience, it's maybe not as beneficial. But it also comes down to like what the person feels like they need to be confident when they go out there. And for him, he would definitely need more touches of CrossFit to feel confident going out. Dub artistry, I'll give you a 3 as that on that. I really like incorporating workouts like you threw in JRs there. And I think like those sorts of things, like when someone's put a lot of thought into a particular kind of workout, as long as it fits into the structure of the week and makes sense, that's like a good option to try to do. I think, again, keeping in mind who's actually writing it is important. Like Bob and Joe are the ones writing the programming, not JR. And that's not that it's wrong to put in one of JR's workouts, but if you can pull like a past style of one of theirs, like they do way more short time duration stuff than JR ever would. They do, they're way more limited in what they can actually program at events because they have so many people going through. Like they're not going to have yokes, and rarely would they have like GHDs. You know, oftentimes like even sandbags got pulled from like their competitions. It's like there's a lot of that kind of stuff that happens. So I think just being cognizant of that as you're writing the workout specifically is super helpful.
One thing I did,
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to write one of JR's workouts here. Like I was thinking, okay, he, in my opinion, is one of the best programmers out there, and I wanted to incorporate that there. So I was going through and trying to pick one of his workouts that like fit their kind of competition style. Like I noticed that they like to do sandbag cleans and upper body pull like a good bit. So
Yeah.
I figured
that's a very much like a live competition style event, right? Like sandbag clean muscle up type event. It's gonna be cool to watch. People are gonna love it. Like it's a great test of fitness. Like overall, it's like that's a well constructed workout, and it would be very plausible that that could show up. Yeah, so it's definitely not wrong in that way, right? Yeah. So yeah, overall, I think that just obviously I just know that the athlete, and it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to like see through some of the stuff that would be like issues that like you guys, and that's part of the fun of like this format is that you guys don't know the athlete, right? Neither does the audience. So we'll let them ultimately be the judge of who they think won this programming battle. So throw it in the comments. Let us know if you think Dubby or Day won the programming battle. So
she gets points off because she wasn't here. No, I'm kidding.
That's right. And both of you ran over, so you get negative points for that.
Everyone loses.
Sweet, guys. Until next time. We'll see you.